Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I can't believe we are like dang near to November. How did that happen? Pretty soon, it's going to be 2018. But it's not yet. It's still 2017, I think. Although I haven't checked lately. I'm pretty sure. We have a guest today that I'm super excited about. Back in the 90s, I had a gentleman who cared a lot about me and my career, and he handed me a book called The 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard.
Okay.
And I was so excited when I found out that I get to do an interview with Ken Blanchard today. He's the author of The 1 Minute Manager, 13 million copies, so I'm not the only person that read that. A lot of people have. Well, he's got a new one. It's called Self-Leadership and the 1 Minute Manager. So it's kind of an updated version because the other one was done like 25, 30 years ago, but it still holds up to this day. I'm excited to chat with Ken. That's coming up later in the program. Also, here's our quote. Optimism is the one quality more associated with success and happiness than any other. Brian Tracy. What a perfect quote for today. Coming up, we've got a lot of special stuff to get to. I'm excited for today. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you paying a bundle to the cable company? Cut the cable and save with the all-new ChannelSurferTV.com. We've added several solutions that could save you money every month. We have dish TV options and internet TV solutions that start from just $20 a month. We even have an HD TV antenna for $30 to get the local channels with no monthly fee. Learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com. We'll do our very best to find the perfect TV solution for you. ChannelSurferTV.com. Movies and TV with a low monthly fee. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's National Mole Day. I wonder if that means the animal or like the skin tag thing. I don't know. And it's National TV Talk Show Host Day. So if you know a TV talk show host, today's the day to call him or her and say, hey, have a good day. So
Okay.
I know a couple of TV, well, they're not talk show hosts, though. No, I know one TV talk show host, so I'll have to call him and wish him a good day. I also know the guy that's on a TV talk show, but he's not the host. He's one of the recurring guests. He's the Donald Trump impersonator that's on Conan, John DiDomenico.
I don't watch
Johnny
those
D.
shows, so I
Oh,
don't
he's
know.
such a funny guy. And we did an interview with him last year, and it was because I wanted to say we're interviewing Trump, and he sounds just like him, but then I let people know, okay, it's not really him, but it's the guy that plays him on this, so... Anyway, TV Talk Show Host Day. Celebrate, I don't know, by watching a TV talk show.
John and Heidi.
Here's Luca from Luca's Boutique. Tell us about the items we'll find at Luca's Boutique.
We have 100% Italian design and Italian made leather goods, artisanally made by artisans, for example, that are commissioned by Gucci, Prada to make bags. We use the same artisans because we know them.
You'll love the fine Italian styles at Luca's Boutique. Leather purses, belts, and more. Learn more at fineitalianstyles.com.
This is Luca from Luca's Boutique, and we have fine Italian styles.
fineitalianstyles.com.
John and Heidi.
Coming your way in a bit, we have big screen, little screen, and we've had so many stories about Harvey Weinstein. I'm trying to just avoid them now. I delete more than I actually share. But this is one that I thought, and it's not Harvey, but it's somebody else. It says Reese Witherspoon says she was sexually assaulted by a director when she was 16 years old. There's more and more stories that are coming out left and right now, and I just think it's...
You know what's incredibly irritating, though? If you're going to come out
Why
and
didn't
say
you
it,
just say it back
name...
then?
Well, and if you're going to say it now after all these years, name the person.
Well, and
Because
that's-
otherwise you're not doing anybody any good with your brave confession.
it's cool.
You need to say who it is and make sure they are held accountable.
And that's the thing. That's one of those things where make sure that they're held accountable so it doesn't happen to somebody else.
Exactly. Otherwise
That's
it will
the
happen to
sad
somebody
thing.
else, and then it's your fault.
And if
because
you're
you
just-
said something, but you're like, oh, but I won't say who.
But if you come out and say it just because you want to be,
You wanna
in
be
the
in the
moment,
in crowd
and it's not
and
even
do the
real,
cool
then
stuff.
shame on you, because that
Yeah.
is not the kind of thing that you want to do that with. It's just wrong. Anyway, Brain on Drugs coming your way. We'll get to big screen, little screen in just a bit.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your Brain on Drugs. A 26-year-old man and a 28-year-old woman were arrested for having drunken nookie in a porta potty.
Oh, gross.
Yeah,
that's a romantic place.
Let me make sure I explain it. Police in Tennessee responded to a report of a drunken couple getting it on in a bathroom at a bar. They were told, get dressed and get out of here. So they left. They got right outside. They found an outhouse that was close by, and they continued right where they left off. Both were charged with public intoxication and indecent exposure and booked on $2,000 bond. You could get a lot of hotel rooms.
How embarrassing.
I know. Can you imagine if these two, like, if that was their first encounter and all of a sudden they get married
How
and
did you meet, Grandma?
and they have kids, and someday they're trying to explain to the grandchildren how they met, and they're like, well, we were in the men's room at this biker bar, and of course that wasn't very comfortable, so we went out to the porta potty, and that's where your mother was conceived. Okay, maybe not. And then again, half the people listening, maybe that is how they were conceived. We have no idea. We have no clue. All I know is I thought that was an interesting story, and I've got a link to it at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. I was always a fan of the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. I thought he was a neat guy, and I never had a chance to meet him, but I thought he was... Did you enjoy his program when he was on?
I never really got into those shows.
Well, I just thought it was really neat because he was fearless, and he knew so much about the animals, and then sadly was taken way too soon. Well, the Irwin family has signed on to star in a new television documentary series for next year. Bindi Irwin, her brother Bob, and their mother Terry Irwin are going to return to Animal Planet for a new project. No details have been announced officially as far as like which day or what month it's coming out, but they do say it's coming out next year. The Irwin family runs the Australia Zoo, and they did that from 1996 to 2007. In addition to that, they also starred alongside Terry's husband Steve Irwin in the reality show The Crocodile Hunter. Steve died after he was pierced in the heart by a stingray barb. That was so sad. I remember when that happened.
It was very sad.
Anyway, so didn't get to anything on the big screen, but that's from Little Screen for Big Screen, Little Screen, courtesy of ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. Call 800-430-8328. 800-430-8328. Drug Watch Hotline is a marketing firm that represents lawyers jointly advertising their services. By calling Drug Watch Hotline, you agree to receive calls by legal service providers.
John and Heidi.
Now your scoop of the day. Several New England towns have been overrun by wild turkeys. They're saying it's because of a wildlife initiative that brought the birds back from the brink of extinction in that region. They were almost gone completely. And they said, okay, we got to quit killing all these wild turkeys. So then the wild turkeys were getting wild, and all of a sudden there's more turkeys, and now these towns are being overrun. So I wonder if they're going to overturn that ban on the wild turkey hunting, or what the plan is there.
Well, I'm sure they probably will now.
I have a story I'll have to share sometime about when I was a kid, and, well, I'll just share it now. When we were hunting with some people from out of town, and we were pheasant hunting. I grew up in South Dakota. That's a big deal, pheasant hunting. And we were riding with these guys from Chicago, and there was a guy reading the manual, like the hunting manual. He'd never gone hunting before. And he's reading through everything about everything, and they said, oh, there's turkeys. Stop, those are in season. And he's pointing out in this book, and my brother and I are like, we've never went turkey hunting. I don't think so. No, there's turkeys. So we turn around. My dad was in a different vehicle. We turn around, and we go back, and these guys kick the door open on the camper that we were riding in, jump out, and shoot 13 turkeys. Then we find out it was a turkey farm. Those were not wild turkeys. My dad had to go talk to the farmer and say,
expensive mistake.
Oh, it was. I think it was like $100 a turkey. The farmer paid. He said, yeah, you could just buy them from me. That's fine. And they bought like $1,300 worth of turkeys that day. Anyway, back to this. MGM released a statement saying the missing security guard who confronted the Las Vegas shooter has not gone into hiding. He will service at the appropriate time. I believe, was he just on Ellen, or he's going to be on Ellen?
He was just on Ellen.
I didn't see that. I just
and
saw it on Facebook.
And it's also Little Fishy. That is the only show he's going to go on.
I just think it's weird.
There's just something. There's something that is not right there.
Again, I'm not saying conspiracy. I'm just saying bizarre.
And I would really like them to look really a lot deeper into that whole thing, because something's not right.
The whole thing is disturbing, period. And then there are things that just don't add up that make you wonder what the heck's going on. Hey, have you ever heard of Tim Hortons? It's a Canadian coffee chain, Tim Hortons. So it's kind of like the Starbucks of Canada, I believe. They're selling a buffalo spice latte that's made with espresso and wing sauce.
Yuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really into that kind of thing. I'm not saying that I've tried it and I didn't like it. I'm saying I didn't try it and I probably wouldn't. It just sounds weird. Taco Bell is in the news because they're bringing back their Steal a Base, Steal a Taco promotion for the World Series that's sneaking up here before you know it. If a player steals a base during the game, all customers get a free Dorito Loco Taco for the Steal a Base, Steal a Taco. And it's a whole lot better than if they were going to, do a promotion, every time somebody gets a run, they would give a taco because then, runs for tacos. Taco, maybe not. There's a joke in there somewhere. I didn't develop it, and I'm going to just move on because I don't want to have Taco Bell mad at me. So somebody get a run. Never mind. You know what I'm talking about or no?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, you're not laughing.
I just had a better one, and I was just going to keep my mouth shut.
Okay, what was yours?
I can't.
Come on.
I can't. Trust me.
Okay, well. It's very rare that I'm just trying to take the shine off of my failed attempt at humor there. Thought maybe you could bomb worse, but you'd probably get us kicked off the air for 5 years. A political poll found that 46% of voters think the media is making up stories about Donald Trump. But how do we know if this is a real story? Maybe that's a made-up story. 46% of the people think it is.
I believe that.
I think they're
stuff is
being very critical.
Yeah.
Yahoo survey found that 74% of young adults prefer to communicate digitally.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Tried to tell my son that. He said, "Hey, Dad, just send me a text." New York City is partnering with General Motors to test a fleet of self-driving cars in Lower Manhattan later this month. So they're going to try to do
those things just make me nervous.
If you're going to test self-driving cars, test it somewhere where there's not so many people. Why Lower Manhattan? I mean, that's a bad idea.
I guess that's the ultimate test.
Yeah,
we're going to test them. That'd be a place to do it.
There you go. That's going to do it for your scoop of the day. Thanks for listening on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
Your credit score really matters when it comes to credit cards, home loans, and car loans. It makes a big difference in whether or not you qualify for the best rates or even get the loan. But did you know that your credit score can also affect the price when you get your insurance too? Many people never even check their credit score, but sadly, errors happen all the time. CreditRepair800.com would like to help you repair your credit and make sure you have the best possible credit score. Get the details on how our program works at CreditRepair800.com. That's CreditRepair800.com.
We have Ken Blanchard. Yeah, the author of 1 Minute Manager, 13 million copies sold. Yeah, we're going to visit with Ken Blanchard about his new book. It's called Self-Leadership and the 1 Minute Manager. Ken, how are you today, sir?
I couldn't be any better. If I was any better, I would be twins.
All right. Well, very nice. Well, I got to admit, I am a big fan. I read the 1 Minute Manager way back in the day and really enjoyed it, got a lot out of it, and used it to help my career grow. So thank you on a personal level for helping me and many, many, many others out there with that book. And I'm excited for what this new book is going to do.
Yes, it's exciting, and it's in the same kind of format of the 1 Minute Manager, but it's called Self-Leadership in the 1 Minute Manager. Because, John, today, the old command and control model of leadership is ill-suited today for today's workplace. For a number of reasons, advances in technology have decentralized operations, so more people are working remotely, and things are changing so rapidly that direct reports often know more about their work than their managers do. And today's workforce demands a more collaborative working environment and increased work-life integration. And all those things are saying that we need to have people who are willing to set priorities, take initiative, and solve problems independently. And we think they can be trained to be self-leaders. And boy, organizations will thrive if people will take responsibility for their own success.
Well, and that's the thing, taking responsibility and being in charge of yourself. Is it truly possible to lead yourself, though, Ken?
Yes, we really feel it is, John. In fact, we teach 3 skills on that. The first one is to kind of challenge assumed constraints. In other words, what has people laid on you in the past about what you can and can't do? And all, and how do you just overcome them? For example, you get a kick out of this. I was told by all my college professors that I couldn't write, so if I wanted to be at the university, I needed to be an administrator. And then I got an opportunity to write a book with a guy, and all of a sudden I found out I could do it. And, and I just said, wow, forget it, So, of course, I sent that book to a lot of these turkeys that said I couldn't write.
That's awesome.
Some constraint is something that, somebody tells you can't do. The second thing is that a lot of people assume that the only power out there is position power. And if you're trying to influence your boss, you don't have it. But you got personal power. You can develop a relationship with that boss, in terms of to be able to get what you need. And if the boss is a problem, and we, got some jerky bosses out there, you need to develop a relationship with them. We have a saying that you need to connect before you can correct. And I think that's so important in terms of getting to know people in the organization that might help you succeed. And then finally, you need to be proactive to get what you need, and just go out and ask for it. Our favorite saying is for people is I need a little help here. I need that, and it's really interesting. The research is showing, John, that people who are willing to be vulnerable. Brene Brown is, of course, known for this now. Rather than seeing that as a weakness, it's seen as a powerful thing. That people say, "Wow, this person really is willing to admit that they don't know everything, and boy, we can help them, and they can help us." And so it creates much more of a collaborative relationship. So that's why we're excited about self-leadership and the 1-Minute Manager.
That's really cool. Now, in here, I'm reading a little bit about assumed constraints. Now, what is an assumed constraint? I'm not sure what that is.
Assumed constraint is it's a belief based on past experience, which limits new experiences. For example, when he challenged the assumed constraint that severe physical disabilities would limit his career, Stephen Hawking used his knowledge and personal power to become one of the most celebrated physicists in history. If he kind of just assumed, God, I got this physical thing, I'm not going to be able to do this. But he rose above that. And I think we have to look at what assumed constraints have people given us, like those turkeys who said I couldn't write.
That's awesome. Now, can a person without a formal title attain the power to influence decisions and outcomes?
Yes, it's really, you have to realize that you have some power. One of your powers, as I mentioned, is personal power. You have your charm and your personality, but knowledge power, because a lot of times you know more about something than your boss does. And then relationships power is the capacity to build relationships and get to know people in different parts of the. And finally, task power is you know a lot about what you're being asked to do, and so you need to make sure that you're activating the power that you have, and not just assuming, my God, since I don't have position power, I don't have any power.
The new book is a lot about self-leadership. Is that something that can be taught, or are you a born self-leader?
No, I think it can be taught. I think that what we're trying to say to people is, you don't sit around and act like you can't have any control over your life. You can, and here's some skills that you can learn, about challenging assumed constraints and activating your points of power and being proactive about what you need to succeed. And, so it can be taught, and we're really encouraging it. And we're getting a lot of wonderful response in organizations saying, wow, this is helping us really be more productive and be, a more inviting, exciting environment.
Can you give some examples of a couple of famous self-leaders that people might recognize their names?
Well, Mother Teresa would be an example. She didn't start off, having a lot of, position power or anything like that. She just had her own personal and relationship power, and that she went on, and gradually everybody wanted to give her all kinds of power and recognize her and all that kind of thing. So she was a classic one that we'd really all recognize, and Nelson Mandela, here's a guy in prison for 28 years and comes out and really takes leadership and grows and learns. So those are two powerful examples people would know in the literature.
Again, our guest today, Ken Blanchard, he has got a new book out. Again, I read your book back in the 90s, the original 1 Minute Manager, and now you've got the new one, Self-Leadership and the 1 Minute Manager. It's available right now. Ken, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, and also thank you for all that you're doing to help mankind. I think it's just been really cool to see the new book come out, and really happy for you that you had so much success with the other, and I think you'll do really well with this one as well.
Oh, good. If people can go on KenBlanchardBooks.com if they want to find out about more of the things that I've done. So KenBlanchardBooks.com.
Very nice. And I will put a link to the book to make it easy for people to find. Ken, thank you again, sir.
Take care of yourself. God bless.
Absolutely. Again, Ken Blanchard right there. And the new book is called Self-Leadership and the 1 Minute Manager. I've got a link to it to make it really easy to find at Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
Are you paying a bundle to the cable company? Cut the cable and save with the all-new ChannelSurferTV.com. We've added several solutions that could save you money every month. We have dish TV options and internet TV solutions that start from just $20 a month. We even have an HD TV antenna for $30 to get the local channels with no monthly fee. Learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com. We'll do our very best to find the perfect TV solution for you. ChannelSurferTV.com. Movies and TV with a low monthly fee. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What is that, John?
Sleep through winter is hibernation, while sleeping through summer is called estivation. So there's some animals that don't like to be out in the heat. They sleep all summer. It's called estivation.
Okay.
I've never heard of that. I've heard
either.
of hibernation. Heard that a lot, but wonder why estivation
Who
is not.
doesn't like to be out in the summer?
I don't know. Probably some sort of cold-blooded critter.
Maybe it's somewhere. Maybe it's like only in the deserts where it's like super hot.
Probably what it is. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In Gaddafi's compound, Libyan rebels found a photo album filled with pictures of Condoleezza Rice.
I can see that. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, but Gaddafi apparently was interested in Condi Rice, which
should have been letting her do the negotiating.
There you go. That's what they should have done. It's like, okay, we'll talk, but send Condi. Like, what are you talking about? And finally, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The famous Aaron Burr Got Milk ad from 1993. Do you remember that? Where the guy was on the phone and he was eating a cookie and it was a got milk because he had his mouth.
Okay.
It was direct. You don't remember that?
No.
I remember that. It was directed by Michael Bay, the same guy that did Transformers and all those.
Oh.
Michael Bay was the director of that famous Got Milk, Aaron Burr Got Milk ad from 93.
Alrighty.
There you go. A couple of fun facts brought to you by CreditRepair800.com. That's CreditRepair800.com.
John and Heidi.
Are you struggling with addiction or alcohol problems? If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help, and your insurance may offer coverage.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Call the Addiction Hope and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-438-0380, 800-438-0380.
Now your word of the day, it's vicarious. We've actually heard this. We've used this. Have you ever used the word vicarious?
Yes. I will just live vicariously through you.
I was going to say, I've never used the word vicarious. I've used vicariously, which is, a different tense of that. But it's an adjective, experienced through an imaginative participation in another's actions. Okay? It says, the voyeur in all of us likes to experience things vicariously by secretly observing others. See, they couldn't even use it in vicarious.
Yeah, they didn't even use vicarious. The word should just have been vicariously.
It should have been. You're being quite vicarious by doing that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a sentence where you could use it. Maybe vicarious is just a word that shouldn't be used, and vicariously should replace it.
I think so.
I don't know. There we go. This has been our weird word of the day.
John and Heidi.
Here's Luca from Luca's Boutique. Tell us about the items we'll find at Luca's Boutique.
We have 100% Italian design and Italian made leather goods, artisanally made by artisans, for example, that are commissioned by Gucci, Prada to make bags. We use the same artisans because we know them.
You'll love the fine Italian styles at Luca's Boutique. Leather purses, belts, and more. Learn more at fineitalianstyles.com.
This is Luca from Luca's Boutique, and we have fine Italian styles.
fineitalianstyles.com.
John and Heidi.
Time now for some weird news, Heidi. And we're going to start right here with Brittany R. Bobo, age 24, and Shamaya Hempel, age 27, and LaMonica McGee, age 23. And again, if I get all those names wrong, I apologize. I'm not trying to be rude. Trust me, I'm just an idiot. They swiped some lingerie from Victoria's Secret in St. Louis. And then they led police on a chase before their car caught fire. And the trio swiped about $7,400 worth of merchandise without paying. So 3 people, $7,400. You divide that by 3, that's about $2,500 per person. Mm-hmm. That was quick math right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Because I just did like 75. That'd be like 3/4, and that would be 3 25-cent pieces. See, so it's a little less than 25 each. $7,400 worth of merchandise. Each one of them stole about $2,400. Was that like 2 bras and 1 pair of panties? I have no idea. I do know that you always say it's very expensive there. The trio led police on a brief pursuit. See what I did there?
I see what you did.
Because they stole underwear. A brief pursuit. The driver hit a curb, deflating the tire, but they kept driving. The car ended up with 2 flat tires, and then it burst into flames. The women fled, but they were caught. So it never pays to steal from Victoria's Secret. They'll always catch you. And other places, too. A little bit of weird news brought to you by RadioSavings.com. Now your moment of duh. Wayne Nat, age 56, was arrested after a tiny camera that he hid in a smoke detector in a bedroom of his rental condo was found by the guests. We talked about this. The Airbnb dude that was like taping people while they were, not sleeping in bed.
Okay.
That guy. A couple from Indiana found another camera in the living room. Nat
oh my gosh.
pled the cameras were meant to record private, interlude parties that he was having. I'm not using those while guests are here. Yeah, sure you're not. In his defense, he told authorities people in his private parties knew they were being recorded. Airbnb spokesperson Benjamin Bright says, "We are outraged at the reports of what happened. As soon as we were made aware, we permanently banned this individual from our community and fully supported the affected guests." Nat was charged with video voyeurism because it's not illegal to be creepy.
That's just sick.
It is kind of weird. Yeah. So, Wayne, I don't know. Maybe find another hobby. Just thinking out loud here. A little bit of weird news right there. No, that was your moment of duh. We have some more fun stuff coming up.
Your credit score really matters when it comes to credit cards, home loans, and car loans. It makes a big difference in whether or not you qualify for the best rates or even get the loan. But did you know that your credit score can also affect the price when you get your insurance too? Many people never even check their credit score, but sadly, errors happen all the time. CreditRepair800.com would like to help you repair your credit and make sure you have the best possible credit score. Get the details on how our program works at CreditRepair800.com. That's CreditRepair800.com.
We've got good news coming your way, but first, a former member of the Pussycat Dolls, that's the band, remember them?
I remember them.
They said, this former member says the band was actually a front for a prostitution ring that was in Hollywood. What?
I don't doubt that. I mean, look at what they named the band.
Well, I just think it's weird that...
It's almost a red flag right there.
I'm very baffled by that because, I don't know, I'm very naive, so I don't understand how all this stuff works, so... It just seems bizarre.
So was she one of the prostitutes?
Apparently, yeah. And it sounds like that's what they were doing. And then the band was like laundering the money because they had all this money coming in. They're going, oh, hey, it's a band. Yeah, we're just paying you to do a gig. You guys are going to come over and play a gig. It's just different instruments you're going to play. That's all. So interesting stuff. That's, I wonder if that's true.
I don't know.
Just because somebody claims it, by the way, I hope you guys understand. Somebody claiming something on the internet doesn't mean it's true. So this is on the internet, claimed by a former member of the Pussycat Dolls. But again, I don't know. I'm not going to look into it any further because I don't want to Google Pussycat Dolls. I'm just afraid of what would pop up. We got some good news coming your way. This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think this is pretty darn good news. A 5-year-old boy was being tormented by bullies every day, but then a couple of football players showed up at his lunch table to kind of help him out a little bit. How cool is this?
That's very cool.
You sent this to me. A couple of 16-year-old high school football players started a buddy group to help bullied kids at schools. The athletes played and ate lunch with those children, and it had an amazing effect, changing their lives. It all started with a 5-year-old boy who was being seriously bullied at school. These 16-year-old students from New Mexico learned about the 5-year-old being bullied. They were heartbroken. They thought, we could do something about this. So they went and they would sit with him, and they found out he was so distressed he would actually get sick before school. He was so worried about going to school. They said, he didn't want to go to school because when he was at school, he was miserable. And that shouldn't be happening. Chris Kudakhen? I don't know. I'm saying it wrong. Chris Kendall. I'm probably saying it wrong. I'm sorry, Chris. He's a 16-year-old kid. Awesome kid, too, by the way, who's helping out with this. And he himself had been bullied when he was younger, so this really hit close to home. And when he was just a little boy, like I said, he had issues where kids were picking on him. So he says, I remember how it felt when I was getting bullied, and that just fired me up. He said, I wanted to make a change right then and there, and I didn't want him to go another day and have to wake up another day feeling like he did when he didn't want to go to school. I'm not paraphrasing all of this, of course. I'm trying to speed read it to get it in my allotted time here. Anyway, I do have a link to the story about these two awesome high school football players who went and hung out with this little boy. And it's not just one. They're doing this with others, too. They said, hey, it's a good idea. I think we should be doing this and hanging out with these kids that are getting bullied. And they've gotten some really cool exposure.
I think that's so great. Bullying has gotten just so completely out of control.
Well, they got to be on with Meredith
these big
Vieira.
Kids that are saying, you know what, no more. We're going to help. And I think if schools all across the country would do that, it would be
really cool.
Good.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I think
and
it's
also
neat.
High school students right within your own school. You don't have to go back to kindergarten. There are high schoolers that are being bullied every single day, and maybe you should be stepping up for them as well.
Absolutely. I think it's cool they were on the Meredith Vieira show, and now they've really made it because they've been on the John and Heidi show. Okay, maybe she's got a bigger deal than us. I've got a link to the story at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening. The good news brought to you by Luca's Boutique, online at fineitalianstyles.com.